The Deputy Minister of Transport, Sindisiwe Chikunga, is in Limpopo alongside officials there this morning, and they're joining family members of the victims of Monday's bus crash. 21 people were tragically killed when a bus crashed, or should I say when a bus collided with a cash-in-transit van, and scores of people injured as well. Let's speak now to Newzroom Afrika's Mohlaoli, who is in one of the hospitals in Louis Trichardt. Tumaole, good morning to you. It is a very, very sad day. Once again, South Africa's roads claiming a number of lives. I see the Deputy Minister behind you. Just give us a sense of how the families are coping with this tragedy.
Well, indeed, it is a very sad morning. The families are still struggling to come to terms with what has happened, the immediate and very tragic loss of their loved ones. I was on the scene just yesterday evening, and the families were saying that they're still dealing with the shock of, coming to terms with the fact that they'll never get to speak to their loved ones again. And some are also saying that, they feel as if the responses weren't adequate in terms of also the concerns they had raised previously about the state of the road and the fact that the speeding on the roads, despite the fact that these roads are very, 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 very treacherous, and because of the wet conditions, they feel that more could have been done. And also, they feel that the busing industry and the transport industry needs to be looked at because the conditions with which these buses are overloaded, this is some of the allegations that were made, also contribute to the myriad of accidents that take place, including the one that happened yesterday. Of course, these investigations are being undertaken by the Road Traffic Management Corporation, RTMC, and they were on the scene yesterday. They are trying to piece together exactly what happened and what was at fault. But eyewitnesses on the scene were saying that when they arrived, it certainly was a grim scene, and many of those who arrived on the scene were also complaining that other motorists and passers-by simply switched on their cell phones and took videos while some were trying to rescue those who were still alive and still trapped in that wreckage. The river was flowing quite heavily due to the heavy rains just underneath that bridge where, of course, that bus plunged through. And people were saying bystanders were just looking on, Kholi. Unbelievable, looking on and taking videos rather than try and assist. So these are some of the things that people are trying to come to terms with. And of course, we understand that there is one survivor, a little boy, who has lost everyone, lost both mother, father and siblings in that horrific bus crash. So that just gives you a sense of what is happening. We are going to get a sense from the provincial government here about what is being done to support victims like that one. But I can tell you on site here today during this visit for those who have been injured and who have survived and who are being treated here at this particular hospital would include, of course, as you mentioned, the Deputy Minister of Transport, Ms. Sindisiwe Chikunga, the Limpopo MEC for Transport and Community Safety, Ms. Florence Ratilani, and the Executive Mayor of the Bembe District Municipality Councillor Dowelani Nenguda. So they are all here and they are all, coming out to get a sense of what happened. But we will see if we can get a word in edgewise. I can see that the Deputy Minister is here right now. But let's see if we can maybe get a word in when she wraps up here, talking to some media colleagues. I'm going to try and see if we can get to hear what she has to say.
And that is why sometimes we advise our people that it would not have been possible maybe for the bus. But I always, even now, tell my children that in a situation where you think head-on collision is about to happen, you better drive the car off the road. You're better off having the car maybe rolling outside the road than a head-on collision first, then, of course, the overtaking of the car. But sometimes it's not possible. I know it for sure that sometimes it's not possible, and therefore head-on collision will happen, and then we have so many deaths. So we're here to express our condolences to the families, but also to say to those that were injured in the crash, we wish them a speedy recovery. And it's very painful that in just one accident you lose 21 lives. These are lives that will never come back ever again. And those families will have to live with this pain for the rest of their lives. So it's the pain that people see you walking and they think you have overcome it. But it's the pain that you live with for the rest of your life. You cry every day if you have to. Then you wake up in the morning and you walk strong. But inside you just can't take it. Because it's somebody who was not ill. It's somebody who says, I will see you in the afternoon, who lives washing outside. And you're hoping that that person is going to definitely come back. And they never come back. So it's the most terrible type of death, the accidents that they cause. Shocking. There's nothing that prepares you for it, and that is why we are here to meet with these families.
Deputy Minister Chikunga, Tumaole from Newzroom Afrika, thanks again for speaking to us. I just want to find out an update. There's one child who has lost everyone in this accident. We're told he's now an orphan, or she. What kind of support from the department are you going to give such an individual? And also, can you give us an update in terms of the investigations, cash and transit vehicle and a bus privately owned, this gruesome accident? Are there going to be investigations in terms of who's responsible and what could be the consequences for them? Thank you.
I'm still going to get a briefing on these matters. Even the preliminary investigation and findings, I'm still going to get that. Hands have just arrived, so I'm not aware of what you are saying. For instance, I've not been briefed about it. However, we then have road accident fund that is supposed to compensate victims of road crashes in South Africa. Because in South Africa, you don't go to the owner of the vehicle. You go to road accident fund and claim. In a situation such as that, if that has actually happened, then of course the road accident fund or the child might have to claim from the road accident fund what we refer to as loss of support, particularly if the parents were employed. And then the child must then claim from the road accident fund what, like I've said, loss of support. And that will help the child. And that for sure is what Road Accident Fund does. And one thing we would wish to see happening in a situation such as that one is that the claims are processed quicker than what it usually takes. Because I think that is a situation that says that child will probably need help immediately. So that will be that. And I want to believe if people are employed, there must be some things that work or employers pay to families and so on. I wouldn't want to enter that space. But from ourselves, our side, Road Accident Fund, if the parents were employed, then we'll have to pay a loss of support compensation to the child.
And in terms of the liability with the companies that are involved, once investigations are complete, are we likely to see the government pushing for people to be held accountable and to face the might of the law if negligence is indeed found to be the case with this horrific accident? For
sure, if negligence is found to be the case, first the person should be charged. It could be called culpable homicide. I always wish that if indeed there's more than enough evidence that there was real negligence, people are charged with murder than culpable homicide. But if it is that there is negligence, which I don't know for now, like I'm saying, I've not been briefed, if there is negligence that is proven beyond reasonable doubt, then it's culpable homicide times 21. It's 21 lives lost. And what you are saying, if it is exactly what they will be briefing us about, you now have an orphan. You just immediately, just 1 second, there's an orphan. And it changes the life of the child forever. You know, a child who says Mama Baba suddenly can't say Mama Baba. And you are never prepared for that. If they are ill, if they are at the hospital, something will say it's possible they can, they cannot. But this one doesn't prepare you for that. And that is why it's something that's too much for any family. And for the community, you know. And what concerned me was the fact that these people might actually be coming from almost the same villages and so on and so forth. One death is enough to make the village feel bad, but 21 is something else. And that is why, honestly, we couldn't continue to be in Parliament for the debate when we have something as big as this for the country. Hence we are here. And I really want to thank even the media that you are here, because most often than not, it's easy when things happening in the urban areas, people that we know, and the deputy ministers and so on and so forth, so we will be there. But when it is ordinary people, sometimes they remain all by themselves, and that you are here, I think it says they too are human beings worth respect and recognition. And we really appreciate that.
All right. Thank you very much. That was, of course, Deputy Minister of Transport, Ms. Sindisiwe Chikunga, saying that, of course, she had to pull out of Parliament to make sure that she attended to the hospital being ground zero for now, where the survivors are getting treatment. And her thoughts and, of course, sympathies going out to that lone survivor, a child who's now been orphaned in one swoop after that tragic accident. We'll continue to give you updates on the story as and when they happened. It's back to you in the studio, colleague.
Tragic story indeed. Thank you very much, Tumaole, our colleague out in Louis Trichardt this morning.